8:30 a.m. It's class time. Time to get to Foellinger to sleep. Welcome to college, a hunt to find balance in schoolwork, work, social activities, eating, and sleeping. When I had to try and pick what nutrition topic I should research, it was past midnight and I was exhausted. I wondered if what I ate that day was affecting my lethargy. In college, maintaining balance in one's diet is a bit more complex without a dining hall or mom at home to have a meal prepared. I fall to the tendency of eating out and ordering food rather than cook my own meals. I had to take control of my diet to stay healthy. So going about my diet in the best way possible, I wondered, what is protein's effect on sleep? I posed the question, what can a high intake of protein mean for sleep induction? As a review of protein in our body and diets from Fission 120, proteins are large complex molecules composed of amino acids. In addition to the chains of amino acids listed here, we have peptide bonds which connect them. They are also composed of carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and is an important source of nitrogen. Proteins within the body regulate and maintain many body functions, as listed here. Two I want you to notice on the bottom are the dietary protein, and their functions can contribute to satiety, and they serve as an energy source, sometimes. Here below are the main dietary sources of protein. The intake of protein is also a good source, an important source of nitrogen in one's diet. With that review, let us move along and investigate the sleep-related findings linked to protein and the research databases and scientific journal entries I have came across. Let us first look at Jameson and Chiropractic Management of Cow's Milk Protein Intolerance in Infants with Sleep Dysfunction Syndrome, a Therapeutic Trial, was published in the Journal of Manipulative and Physiological Therapeutics and examined the relationship of CMI, or cow's milk intolerance, and CMA, cow's milk allergy, versus sleep dysfunction in infants. Cow's milk intolerance and allergies cause the lack of CMP, or cow's milk protein, in a baby's diet. Another fact to know is that 1/5 to 1/4 of the pediatric patient population is diagnosed with sleeping disorders. The key finding of this research we should note is the correlation of more sleeping difficulties when the cow's milk protein intake was low. Yet more research is required in the study to validate a longitudinal frame of the syndrome. Second, I looked at the study published by Rickabush about sleep and sheep. This study finds a transition in sheep from a low to high protein diet induces sleep. The increase in sleep time was observed when an increased amount of food was ingested requiring microbial protein synthesis. In this study, both REM cycles and non-REM cycles increase. Nitrogen supplementation in this study induced sleep in sheep, whether the protein came from true dietary protein in their feed or non-protein nitrogen supplement. I then looked at the effects of a high-protein, low-ketogenic diet on adolescents with morbid obesity, published by the researchers listed below. They tested the diet changes in treatment of 6 adolescents with morbid obesity, aged from 10 to 15 years. The average weight of these 6 adolescents was 147.8 kilograms, or as you can see here, 325.2 pounds. They studied this diet and its effect on body composition, blood chemistry, as well as sleep abnormalities, which we'll be paying attention to. Please do take note that a low ketogenic diet means low carbohydrates and fats. The results of the study when put on this diet was that sleeping patterns headed back to normal for these adolescents. Also, the presence of sleep apnea decreased significantly, noting that 14.1 to 1.6 episodes per hour was the average after weight loss of about 30 pounds in this diet. Daytime sleepiness also decreased. Also, REM and non-slow wave sleep increased. Note that this type of diet was used to help treat morbid obesity. If you're at a normal weight, this does not necessarily apply to you, so follow your AMDRs in your daily diet. Here's a graph of the sleeping data derived from the study. Next, here's information from Darren Eller's recommendations on creating more non-synthetic energy in one's day. He interviews Dr. Donald Lehman from our very own U of I labs, who advised that women who reduce the amount of carbohydrates in their diets and raise the amount of proteins reported feeling more energetic in all trials. The set of research I had used to investigate my cause was the works of Jane Clark, a highly renowned nutritionist of the UK and Europe. In her advice column, she directly addresses a woman's high-protein diet. In her advice, she recommended adding a little more starch or carbohydrates to the advice seeker's diet, for they have a calming effect on the body, producing serotonin. I noted that in her work, she addresses directly a high-protein diet that may cause restlessness. In my conclusion with her research, in order to combat insomnia or restlessness when using a high-protein diet to lose weight, don't forget to balance off with some carbs in your diet. Finally, the last source of previous research I used to investigate protein's intake's role with sleeping factors was Kathy Berker's published article on sleeping and aging. College students, as we have seen, are under stress due to assignments, presentations, papers, and exams. With this stress comes a lack of sleep, Berkner notes. She also notes that insomnia is included in the signs that you are not managing your life well. She clarifies that stress demands more amino acids because they are burned more rapidly. Berkner also brings up the neurohormone or antioxidant important for the sleep-wake cycle, melatonin. Common foods such as olive oil, wine, and even beer are rich sources of the hormone. Melatonin is also found in many common fruits and vegetables, including tomatoes, grape skins, tart cherries, and walnuts. In small dosages, in contrast to supplements, this is found. If taking the supplement to help sleep, the usual dosage before bedtime is 1 to 3 milligrams. So what can we take from this? Some data seems rather contradictory between authors. Correlations in data are subjective to the consumer of the diet. How about we review one more time the main points? In the baby study, the specific cow's milk protein present in the diet induced better sleeping patterns. In the second, sheep and sleep, the addition of nitrogen in the diet, whether it was supplemented by a protein or not, induced sleep in sheep. In the third, with adolescents with morbid obesity, the higher amount of protein and the decrease of carbohydrates led to better sleeping patterns and less daytime sleepiness. It also decreased in sleep apnea. In the 8-point energy solution, Darren Eller said, too many carbohydrates drain. So, reduce carbs and raise protein and you will have more energy in the day. Jane Clark's advice, on the other hand, was that too much protein leads to restlessness. Add carbs in small amounts to help induce sleep and you will be okay. Stress, Sleep, and Aging, our final work by Kathy Berkner, showed us that melatonin supplements help induce sleep, which is a protein. So what have I learned? What have I learned and taken out of this? Well, carbohydrates, taken in large amounts, drink consumers. So having a calming and sleep-inducing effects on the brain, serotonin, we can see them as more of a sleepy effect. While protein, I have taken out of this, taken in large amounts, may cause restlessness. The balance between these two enhances sleeping patterns. My solution to college students: if you consume too many carbs, feel lethargic, and can't stay up to write papers, decrease the carbs and increase the protein intake, as we have seen in the previous research, for the most part. If your diet's balanced correctly, you will be able to have a great night's sleep and the right amount of energy to make it through the long studying days or event-filled days. Also, we did note that melatonin supplementation, I don't really recommend it, even though I had said before, one beer do have small doses of melatonin. Don't get any ideas from this research. Alternative research ideas I've come up with are listed here. So I hope you enjoy them. Remember, stay and eat healthy. Have a good one.